What if I told you that this app, and this app were all built without writing a single line of code? That's right, you can now build fully functional apps thanks to the power of no-code and AI tools. And in 2025, it's your turn to launch your $1 million app using one of these 5 simple builders to do just that. Welcome back, my friends. Today, we're gonna be talking about 2 different types of tools. On one side, we have no-code drag and drop builders. On the other side, we have AI coding tools. And today, I'm gonna break down my top 5. We're gonna get into pros and cons of each so that by the end of this video, you've decided which one you should use to build your app. But as usual, lots to cover here. Let's jump in. Okay, so this first tool was used to build this AI t-shirt business that allows users to basically go from design all the way to printing in just a couple of seconds using only prompts. Now, the name of this tool is Buzzy, and it's an AI app builder, and it allows you to design, build, and deploy your app all within one platform. And they actually just released this super killer feature that I'll be talking about in just a second. But first, let's jump into this platform. I'm gonna show you how it works. So here we are on the website, and as you can see, their promise is to go from idea to working web or mobile app in minutes. To showcase this, I'm just gonna be using an example prompt. So go ahead and click on this. So here's the prompt that they've given me: create an event planning app that allows users to create and manage events. And then it says sessions have this, that, the other. The reason why it's going into details there, it's because it's going to use this prompt to then create also the database structure. So if you're writing your prompt from scratch, you can just mimic this one. Now, let's go ahead and click continue. So after a little bit of cooking, it's created a first app. Let's first of all go ahead and check it out. So here we can see basically the different screens. I can sign up. I can see that there are, the different events like tech innovation. At the bottom here, I can go to the home. I can then go to events specifically. I can go to different sessions. Up on the right-hand side here, I do have a profile. So obviously here, it is just a dummy profile at the moment. So I've come back to the editor here, and now we can actually see the different screens that it's created. If I wanted to adapt anything on this page, what I could do is simply go to the page that I want to adapt. And let's make just a very simple change here. I would like this section to be called featured events. And just like that, we see that it's changed it to featured events instead of just events. Now, of course, this is a very simple change. If we wanted to do additional changes, we could go into way more detail. You can also go here to edit, and this is way better, where you can actually select specific cards. So here I could do that again, except by selecting the specific container that that element is in, and then I can ask for the changes. So what if here, for example, I wanted to add an additional piece of information here? I could click on the cards here. Please add a maximum capacity field for each event. And now if I go back to workspace and I go into data, we're gonna see that here in events, and this is specific event data, we're gonna see that there is a maximum capacity field here. You can also come in here and there's a design tab, so you can adapt things from here. But there is one feature, my friends, that I find absolutely amazing. So let me tell you about this. So if we come back to the website here, my favorite design tool is called Figma. And Buzzy's actually released a plugin that allows you to grab a Figma file, so the design of an app, and to transform that into a functional app with auto markup. And so they have a section here that shows you how it works. But let's say you've designed the screens inside of your Figma, which is what a lot of designers do anyway when they design apps. So here I'm in my Figma file, and I have a project already created called FlexiFit. It is a fitness app. Just select all of your screens, and then I go right here, and then I go to plugin and widget, and I go to Buzzy. I'm gonna go ahead and click on that. It's gonna open up the Buzzy plugin. I'm gonna go for the auto markup my app. So it's basically gonna auto markup this, which means that it's going to identify the different sections and transform them into actual code. So this is the brief that is now generated, which is super cool. And I can go ahead and continue, and then I can generate the data model. Boom, just like that. Data model generated. You can see users, meals, workouts, exercise, workout, exercise. Perfect. Let's go ahead and continue. And now, once you've reached here, basically you're gonna be in the publish tab, and you can then simply view this live, and you can check out your app. It's deployed it here in test mode. And you can go ahead and add a workout if you want. So this is really a fully functional app. And if you want to make more changes, you can update, you can publish it again to the same app. So you can just publish updates to this existing app. So that's Buzzy plus Figma, really cool stuff that you can make. So now let's quickly go over the pricing for Buzzy before we move on to the next tool. So if you come to their website and you go to the pricing section, you're gonna see that this is geared a little bit more towards designers and programmers. Basically, you can get 7,000 tokens for $50 a month. You can also buy additional tokens. You have a free 14-day trial. So So feel free to sign up for the free trial here and to play around, see whether this is the right platform for you. And for bigger teams, you have this AI Teams plan as well, which is $250 a month. So this next tool has been one of the fastest growing no-code tools over the past couple of years. They also won Product Hunt's Product of the Day several times already. It's one of my favorite tools and it's called Softr. Let's jump right in. First of all, what is it? Well, Softr is a front-end builder. It allows you to build web apps from scratch with pretty much zero coding skills at all. Now, Softr is a front-end builder. You can connect that to a database. It's commonly used with a platform called Airtable, but you can also connect it to HubSpot. You can connect it to Google Sheets and plenty of others as well, which is great because you can just build apps on top of the data you already have. Now let's jump into their interface, but stick around because we're going to show you their AI builder too. So as you can see, they focus mainly on businesses here, and they actually are just releasing a new REST API integration, which is very cool because it allows you to connect your apps to more data sources. Now, in terms of what you can build, as you can see here, they're really focused on client portals, internal tools, community hubs, and their focus has always been to really use these building blocks, right? To make it very, very simple to build and very easy for people who are absolutely not technical at all. So now let's jump into the editor. I'm going to show you how it works. Now, when you create a new project, it's actually going to build out many of the different pages you already need. I deleted all the stuff here so you could just see from scratch how it works. You basically come here and you can add specific blocks. So if you click on just add a block here, it's going to bring up the different blocks. So here I might start off with a static block, which would be just a header. So we might go for a header like this one. I'm going to add that. Then I can actually style that. I can also choose the visibility. So this might be the one that you see if you are not logged in, right? There's a sign in and sign up. You can just basically add additional blocks one by one. So for a landing page, I might have a hero section. I could select this one. Then I can go and add an additional one, which might be a list of partners. Boom, let's add this one, a couple of logos. I want to showcase some of the features I have. Let's use this one. And it's that easy to build out a landing page. Here on the right-hand side, you can adapt things inside of it, and you can see that automatically here adjust. Now on the left-hand side here, you see all the pages inside your project. You also see the themes. So if you're trying to adapt things that would be throughout the project, you can do it right here. If you have different types of users, this is what we call different user groups. And so, you're going to be able to give people access through different views. So if you have maybe a buyer, a seller, and then an admin, you're going to be able to create different experiences for each one of these. Go back to the website. You can view everything in different sizes too, and it automatically is going to adapt to the different screen sizes. If you want to preview it, you can basically go in preview mode. You can also define what user you want to see it as, and that's pretty much it. It's very easy to use. Once you're ready to publish, you can just click on publish. So it's a very easy platform to use, and of course they have plenty of templates, but I want to show you their AI generator because they were among the first to create an AI generator. Let's say that here we wanted to, for example, create a client portal for insurance companies to track their clients' policy details and coverage information. Preview your app, and it's pretty cool. Here we basically have a very simple landing page. We're going to go ahead and click on customize app. What that's going to do, it's going to import it into a new project, and we're already going to see here that's generated a large number of different pages, but also what you can see here is clients, policies, coverage, add policies, sign in, sign up. And so here we already see that there are at least 2 different types of clients. And if we go on the left-hand side, we're going to see the pages that it's already created. So we can just check out each one of these individual pages, and we can adapt things from here. You basically are going to connect your data source, and it can pull in all this information from your data source. You can synchronize that, and then as soon as something changes in the data source, it will synchronize with what's happening inside Softr. Now let me just go to the publish, copy this. Then I can send this to my friends and be like, look, I'm pretty much a web developer. I'm just kidding, but this is really powerful. Now let's talk about the pricing. Now, first of all, and you'll see this in a lot of app builders, they have a free plan, and this is usually plenty to get things off the ground, tested, built. Then you have a $49 a month plan, and that allows you to publish 3 different apps. And of course, there are larger plans. So think of an app user like a seat, like you're purchasing X number of seats for your company. That's usually the pricing that you'll find on other apps, except here you can build exactly what you want. They also have more expensive plans. One thing I really like about Softr is that it is easy not just to build, but also to maintain from a non-technical perspective, meaning that you can empower people in your team to not only build it, but then also to maintain it, to improve it over time, and that all be in the hands of non-technical people. My friends, if anything so far has impressed you, you owe me a subscribe, I think. I'm joking, but if you haven't been blown away yet, yet, stick around because these next tools are gonna absolutely blow you away. And by the end of this video, I guarantee I'll have earned your subscribe. Now, this next tool, my friends, is an AI coding platform, meaning that you code only with prompts. It's also known as the V1 and Cursor Killer. And in past videos, I've used it to build $10,000 websites in 30 minutes, full AI apps within 48 hours. And I see this tool as being a huge disruptor in the space. The name of this tool is Bolt.new. You can find the link below. And it's basically a coding assistant, but what it does is that it allows you to download dependencies, meaning that you don't have to download all the files to get started like you have to in Cursor. It's also already connected to a deployment platform. And frankly, over the past couple months, I've been quite addicted to this platform. So now let's jump in and I'm going to show you what it can do. Okay, so when I reach Bolt here, I'm going to basically create a first prompt. Now, another thing that I like to do is before you even create that prompt, you can go ahead and improve it with these little stars here, but it should actually not do too bad of a job with just a simple prompt. So let's see what it does here. As you can see, it's actually building out a file structure here, and it is also downloading any dependencies that it needs. And then after it's done coding this very first version, it's going to show me a preview of it. Chicago Coffee Finder. And here we basically have a couple of coffee shops, which is very cool. It already looks pretty impressive, but from here what we can do is we can start improving it. So we could do something as simple as please make the logo look more like a tech startup. Very nice. I like this design. Now let's say make a hero section, and just like that, it's created a hero section. So let's just take a keyword here and see if this is working. Intel. There you go. And it's just finding this one. Yeah, it seems like these cards don't work. Create a coffee shop details page behind each card. Now we got the results. Let's go down here and click on a page. Boom, and now we have an actual detail page for Intelligentsia. It even created a back button, and it's even a pretty slick one with a nice transparent background, so I'm liking that a lot. And it's also already understood that it has to do dynamic routing, which means that if I click on Dark Matter Coffee, it basically brings me to the specific dark matter page. Okay, so the next step would be actually to connect this to a database. So you can basically just ask it, be like, hey, I would like to connect this to Firebase, which is the one I recommend. And then you need to set up your database a little bit, and it's gonna work as a data source for this. And you can then do the same thing with authentications. You can do the same thing with payments with a platform like Stripe, for example. And when all these things are connected and they work, you can basically go to deploy. And now I already see that on this domain, which is obviously just a Netlify domain, you have access to your app. And now if I put dark here, it works to find dark matter. So this is actually a fully functional app. Now, if I come back here, and if at any point I want to undo something that I've just did, I can just click on undo and it'll bring me to the previous version of the app, which is super valuable for me, at least. If you want to attach it to a custom domain, you can do that by clicking on here, going inside Netlify and connecting it to your domain. Now, let's say that you want to download all the code from here. You can just go here into StackBlitz. You click on StackBlitz, and there's a little thing here, which is download project. I download this, and boom, just like that, I have access to a zip file with all of the code inside of it, this file structure as well. So one thing that you can do is build out a first version, and then you can export it. You can upload it to Cursor, continue working inside of Cursor. And so all in all, this is just an awesome platform. We're gonna be focused on teaching a lot more of these AI building platforms as well at We Are No Code, because our goal is to empower non-technical people. But now let's talk about some of the downsides of using AI coding platforms. So one of the elephants in the room is because you can't actually code, you don't understand coding language. If you find yourself in a pickle, well, it's going to be kind of difficult for you to get yourself out of that. AI is quite good at repairing and fixing bugs, but there are situations in which if you don't know how to code, you're going to find yourself a little bit stuck. Now, of course, over time, these will improve and it'll be easier and easier, but that's one of the current limitations that I see. The next one is linked to this one. It's basically after you deploy, if you need to make adaptations to that, you're still going to need to depend on a programmer. And of course, finally, if you're trying to build super complex apps, it's going to be more complicated for you as a non-technical person, just regardless of what you're trying to build. That's for no-code tools, but also for AI builders. Now, before jumping into the next tool, let's talk about pricing. Now, the pricing you can find on stackblitz.com. And basically you see that you can get started for free, which is what I would recommend. Then you can go on the pro plan here for $20 a month, build monthly, 18 if you do the annual plan. It gives you a certain amount of credits. I frankly blew through those credits really quickly. I built 2 different projects and those were gone. So then I actually bought individual credits, about $50 worth of them, and that's been lasting costing me a fair bit of time right now. And of course for teams, $29 a month or 35 billed monthly. Now keep in mind, you're gonna have to pay for some other tools as well. Netlify is surprisingly free for a pretty decent amount of storage, and that should be pretty similar for some of the other tools, but just wanted to let you guys know. And this now leads me to the next tool, which Jesus used to generate more than $100,000 using this platform the first year that he learned it. It's a no-code drag and drop builder that's also released some pretty impressive AI features in it. We're gonna jump into it. The name of this tool, my friends, is Glide. So when we come to their website here at Glide, we can see that this tool is basically also focused on businesses. Basically, it has solutions that allow you to build with drag and drop features. It also allows you to attach to all sorts of databases. And when it comes to what you can actually build with this platform, they really talk a lot about portals, dashboards, CRMs, knowledge bases, inventory management tools. So basically turning data or spreadsheets into apps quickly. They've also more recently started to get into building out agents. This, for the moment, is something that you actually just have to sign up for. So for the sake of this video, we're gonna be focusing mainly on building apps. And one of the things I really like about Glide is that their design is really nice. You can obviously adapt it as you wish, but by default, it looks good. But let's jump into the platform and let me show you how this works. Now, when you hit the dashboard, you want to go ahead and create a new app. Here, you can actually create one from AI. You can also choose to just start from the actual data source that you're about to connect. So let's say that I had an entire list of tools, for example, inside my Airtable database, and I wanted to turn that into a directory. It'd be easy for me to click on Airtable and then connect that specific sheet here. I'm gonna go ahead and create app. And so here we're inside of View. At the top, we can see the data. So this is gonna be the database. You can see the layout. So that's kind of the user interface and the workflows. So let's go ahead and go back to layouts. Here on the left-hand side, you can add new components. So let's say, for example, you wanted to have a list here. You can just add that and it will basically add it. Then you're gonna wanna sync this with the specific data source that you have. And then you can add additional pages on top of that. And so as you can see here, it's a very simple user interface. At the top here, you can actually create different things. Like if I wanted to add a chat, for example, it would add that at the bottom here. Let's say that here is the home that we just had created an element for. Then you could go to the chat and you could basically add different navigation elements. Here might be a dashboard where you want to monitor the results of different things. For each one of these, you can add components and you have all sorts of components here. So make sure to check that out. Now I can come here and click publish. It's gonna allow you to do a similar thing that you have seen already. If I publish it here, I'm gonna be able to grab this link and you're gonna be able to send this app to anyone, get feedback on it. And of course, if you want to attach custom domain, you can do that here. But now let's go back and let's actually go ahead and create a new app and generate that with AI. We're gonna go ahead and create app. So this is where we're gonna be able to describe in plain English with a prompt what we actually wanna build. So what you've probably noticed throughout this video is that there's kind of a fine line between these no-code builders and AI builders, because there's really AI in both of them and they both have benefits we'll talk about in just a little second. So let's go ahead and describe the app that we want to create. I'm gonna wanna create a sales CRM similar to Pipedrive. Boom, just like that, it's created. Teams, contacts, deals, activities. Okay, so these are already the data points that it's identified it wants to use. Let's just go ahead and create the app as it's recommending us to do. If I go from one to the other, I'm gonna see that here are the contacts, excellent. Here are some of the deals. If you wanted to add a navigation and you wanted a dashboard because you want to potentially see what's going on, it already creates a basic first dashboard that you can then adapt. But again, it's already done a pretty fair bit of the work for us here. When you come to the workflows up here, this is actually really interesting. It's kind of like a Zapier. You have a trigger, and then that trigger is going to trigger specific actions. So for example, if I wanted to go inside a deal here, and then I wanted to add, let's say, an element inside of this deal, that would be an audio recorder. Now they have an AI feature here that would allow you to actually make a recording and go from voice to text. So you could, for example, have a note taker inside that app and you basically just speak to it. So you just got off the phone with someone, you go into that deal, you basically give a little voice memo, it updates the deal with that information. And so yeah, you have a lot of control, especially as a non-technical person. This would probably take you about a month to become good at. And to be able to build really powerful apps. That's the reason why I put Glide on this list. Glide and Softr are maybe the easiest platforms to use and to learn, but also to be able to manage, update as a non-technical individual. My friends, if you have an idea, but you have no idea how to get started and you don't know how to code, then check out the free course below, because we're gonna be breaking down the step-by-step that you should use to launch cost effectively. And yes, you've heard it, it's completely free, so check it out now. But my friend, I know that you are as excited as me to learn more about these AI coding platforms. And let's talk about what is the most difficult about building an app. Well, it's the hardcore deployment on the back end, right? And this next tool is super exciting because it actually just simply started as a deployment platform, taking the hardest part out of launching apps. But their recent update is the thing that's going to completely blow you away. They built this platform called Replit Agents. And this is basically a front end built on top of their deployment platform that allows you not just to deploy your apps, but also to build them from scratch. So creating a prompt-based front end builder leveraging AI. So let's jump in and talk about it. So this is Replit's website, and I'm so glad to see that they've finally gone all in on these AI agents, because their homepage now says idea to app fast. And the first thing it's gonna ask us for is a prompt right here to build all sorts of things. It's even gonna give us some ideas: online shop, personal blog, waitlist site, workout tracker, etc. But this platform actually has a couple of things that are really cool that you don't find in other platforms, so I'm excited to show you these. So once we log in over here, we have the same box here. We can also create a new REPL. But for the sake of this, I'm simply gonna type in something quite simple. And the cool thing here is that the first thing that it's gonna do is come up with a plan. Then it's gonna ask me whether or not I'm ready to execute on that plan. It's like, would you like to proceed with the implementation of this? It's also recommending like, hey, we could have some additional elements in this. So let's go ahead and approve here. And now it's gonna start building, starting with the database. It's just amazing to watch this cook, because it's, actually doing things that would take hours and, over time, actually like months, weeks to build, with programmers who would be writing these individual lines of code. And here it's kind of, on the left-hand side, building out the file structure for this app. And now it's saying you need a Google Maps API to display the map. Can you find another alternative? I'm gonna ask it. And here it's saying that it's going in and finding another OpenStreetMap with Leaflet.js instead of Google Maps. This is free open source alternative. Pretty cool stuff, right? But let's see what result it gives us. So it's created a first version, not the design I would have selected. I do like that burger at the top. The logo looks pretty cool. Can you check if the map is displaying properly and if the search functionality works? Look at that, the Apple Pan, very cool. Umami Burger. These are actual real places, by the way. I've been to some of them. And then if we search, let's put umami. Look at that, it finds Umami Burger, it finds that it's in the Grove. Yes, it works. Now, could you add detail pages behind these? Make the cards clickable. Now we first want to make sure that we have this thing working functionally, and then I'm going to start fine-tuning the design behind it. And I'm not going to do a full tutorial here, but I do want to show you some of the additional functions. Okay, let's see if this thing works now. I see that, yeah, when I hover over it, there's something there. So I click on that and boom, we have the design. Excellent. We have a larger portion. We could ask it to adapt additional things here. We can also go back to the home in the click of a button, make the design of this app more slick. Okay, that's already starting to look a little better. I wouldn't call it super slick yet, but this is definitely one step closer. Now that we've built the first version, and you could pretty much go back and forth forever in this app, it's a lot of fun, but I just want to show you a couple additional things before we start talking about how to make a decision. On the top right here, when I want to deploy, I can click deploy and it's going to bring me through the process of doing that. But let's say we wanted to add authentication. Let us log into REPL using your pre-built login page or customize your own button. So I can click on this and we could basically run your web app to use login with REPL. So basically at this point we can say, please add authentication. Now it's finished cooking. Let's see what it has for us up here. Register. And if we click on register, it's going to open up register and we can now register Christian email, password, confirm, or you can log in here. Now, you could also choose to, for example, say, I'm going to use Firebase as the database. Could you please help me integrate that? And another feature I want to talk about here is that you can easily invite people here to collaborate. So this is one of the features that I think a lot of the others don't necessarily have. Replit, as I mentioned, it really is quite good on these more complicated back-end things because it was actually built as a deployment platform first, and they layered on this UI UX element to it too, so it can build the front end. Now let's talk about the pros and cons of no-code tools and AI coding platforms. First of all, AI coding platforms, as you can see, if you get a little bit lost in them and if you don't know how to code, or if you face real errors happening inside that you can't fix with the AI, you find yourself a little bit stuck. And that's where the limitations currently are. Now, of course, these platforms are improving every single day, but that can be a huge limitation and drawback for non-technical people. Now, the no-code tools can be easier to learn than learn how to code, which is a huge advantage that they have. Sometimes the subscriptions can be considered a little bit more expensive, and because they're quite easy to use and learn, I think that's a reason why people really love these no-code tools. And as they implement more AI functionalities, they become very, very powerful. So as you see, it's becoming a bit of a blurry line between AI building platforms, which are naturally going to need to help people kind of fine-tune things, and usually drag and drop elements are a really easy way to get there because the no-code tools are implementing AI to benefit from fast production. I believe that within the next 5 years, both of these are going to come together and be really nicely married. But here's my recommendation for which one to choose. If you are a designer and you're working inside of Figma and you want that process to go quicker to launch it as an app, say, hey, why don't we use Buzzy, auto markup our work and transform those into apps? Now, if you're a complete beginner and you're trying to build an app, I would highly recommend trying Softr, simply because it's a tool that really gives you a good amount of flexibility. I've trained a huge number of founders with this platform and seen great success. Another platform that I think is amazing is Bolt. I've really been able to build some impressive things with Bolt with very limited knowledge of coding. Now, Glide is a cool platform and they've been evolving a lot. So I think that investing your time in learning an easy platform like Glide could be great, especially if you're building something like an inventory management app. And if your question is, should I learn an AI coding platform or a no-code tool? I would say learn one of each. You can get such great results quickly with no-code tools. And I believe that having some of the foundation of that will set you up for once you're ready to graduate into that next step. Now, the 5 AI tools I just talked about are awesome. However, if you don't know how to actually turn an app into a user base or get paying customers for that or turn it into a business, then you're pretty much dead in the water with a cool thing that no one's using. So if you want to actually learn how to build a business behind this app, then check out this video, because in 2 hours and 19 minutes, I break down every single step. Check it out and I'll see you in the next video. Let's go.